Okay, so as we put this bottom end together, there goes my flywheel. We have our crankshaft, we have our connecting rod torqued. We timed our camshaft, our balance shaft, and off camera, we threw in this oil level sensor. Our bottom end is complete and ready to go together. And we're ready to install this side cover. This side cover looks like 4 different bearings mounted in it. Bearings, you can usually feel if they're a problem, if they feel rough when you turn them. You'll feel the roughness in your finger. These all feel very good, as this motor is brand new, okay? I'm going to use this lube container. I've been told I say okay a lot, by the way. I don't know if you've noticed in every single one of my videos and every single one of my classes. But what I'm going to do is put this lube into each of the ball bearings. I'll say okay. Should just keep saying it. Say it more now that I acknowledge it's a problem. Bearings, bearings, bearings. They like their oil. It's good for them. This stringy stuff sticks around for a while. That's good. The governor is plastic, but I'm not going to overlook the fact that it's in mesh with a metal gear. So I'm going to give it a little bit of lubrication as well. It's going to be sitting in motor oil when it fires up for the first time. And then the end of all these gears fit into the bearings, and they're going to fit a lot better if I lube them up before I put it together. And I'm going to spread some of this around because I want this cover to go together pretty easily. I'm going to take the side cover, line up the balance shaft with its bearing, line up the crankshaft with its bearing, and line up the camshaft with its bearing. Sometimes engines have dowels to help line them up, but I believe that those aren't for them, so we're all tickety-boo here. We're good. Now this cover, they tend to need a little bit of persuasion, but you want to make sure you're not hammering this together. Even though I am using a hammer to make sure that it lines up, if something doesn't fit, it's probably for a reason. So just make sure you're not going to get too rough with this. So what I'm going to do is, the governor gear needs to line up. So I'm just going to turn the engine just to make sure that alignment isn't a problem. Going to rock that back and forth. While I give this a tap. Beautiful. So when that gap is gone between here, it's good to put your bolts in. You're going to need to learn this lesson from me now rather than learning it later in life. Never close a gap by tightening the bolt. The tightening of the bolt will always close the gap. But more times than enough, it's going to break that part. Okay? You can take my word for it because a boss told me that, or I learned it by watching someone else do it. Maybe I've done it once or twice in my life too. Okay? So never ever use a bolt to close that gap. If it's not going together, there's a good reason it's not going together. So I'm going to put in all the bolts. I think we counted 7 of them. Look at us using math and counting. We're so smart. So the 7 bolts are here, here, and here. Here, 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 and here. And our torque spec tells us that they're 17 foot-pounds. So I'm gonna just run them up close with this nut driver in my hand because it just works a little bit faster. And then I'm gonna torque them. And when I torque this, I'm gonna make sure that I'm snug kind of in a cross pattern, so this is down nice and square. And then I'm gonna go around all of the bolts, maybe more than once, just to make sure they're all tight. But this is kind of the excitement of closing up the bottom of our motor, crossing that off our list, that our bottom end of our engine's good, and then we can focus on the top end of the engine. Remember, the bottom end of the engine is all like crankshaft, camshaft, connecting rod, piston, all that really, really high torque stuff is now done properly and off our list. Properly, right? This is one of those things, even this cover and putting these bearings in contact, that we're gonna want to check the rotation of everything again. I already tightened those ones, but now they're loose because I went and tightened the other ones. Maybe I dropped the flywheel again, but we're gonna take the flywheel and we're gonna use it to turn the engine. Again, just making sure that it's turning really well. It's turning better now because the crankshaft and the camshaft are supported by their bearings and holding them perfectly in line and straight. So things are actually turning better. It was turning pretty well before, but now it's turning even better. So, torque wrench. 17. 17's a little bit more torque than what we've been using for a lot of the torques on this engine so far. So, 17 foot-pounds. We'll see if I can manage to accomplish 17.0 on any of these torques. I'm not struggling, I'm just going slowly because I don't want to go way over. 9? What? It said 9.
19.
Oh, is that what it said?
No, it said 9.
Yeah, it said 9. 17.48. I think that 9 was a typo. Can electronic things have typos? I don't think they can actually, can they? Oh, 17.2. This is impossible. And now that I've done 4 of them and I've made sure this cover's on good, I'm gonna now go around. There's no specific torque pattern for this side cover. Whoops. Oh. Can't hide your mistakes on camera, can you? 17.11. That 17.9 I'm not too worried about. People with click type torque wrenches just have no idea what their number was. When they click, they just, oh yeah, no, it's good. This number is giving you, it's showing you your flaws. And I have lots of them. Most of them are my students. 17.14. There's another burn. Some of you have been burned a lot today. 17.06. And then let's not forget this one bolt that is within this other cover. It's kind of easy to bypass. But this cover has one hidden bolt. And 17.79. Now I'm making it angry. This is nice and tight. 17.05. Come on. Oh, I can't do it. Okay. As I go around and keep going around, I can see that they're all torqued now. When I get to the next one, it's been torqued. All right. That's pretty much the bottom end of our engine together, other than these other gears for our gear reduction that's on the outside of the engine. The gear reduction is not going to have any timing. All it does is slow down the output shaft a little bit. So those will be pretty simple to put together. We're going to wait until the top end of this engine's together before we do that. All right, so that's how we put on our crankcase Cover, torque to 17 foot-pounds.